Welcome to the program, everyone. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. All right, we've got a lot to cover. We're going to hear from Marjorie Taylor Greene in a few minutes. You will not want to miss this. Now, I want to play this. This is interesting for a couple of reasons, okay? We're waiting for the Supreme Court decision on presidential immunity. Now, this is MSNBC today, and this is, like I said, there's a couple of reasons why I'm playing this particular one, which I'll tell you in a minute. But this is the legal correspondent from MSNBC talking about the Supreme Court decision on presidential immunity. Listen.
Yet to come down to the wire here. Not only are they a few biggest cases, but there's a ton of cases left with 2 days to go till the end of June, which is usually the very end of the term.
Yeah, they're creeping up on their summer vacation.
How do you see it? The fact that there's sort of this backlog and all these big cases left.
They're not done. They still have more work to do. And I think especially on the issue of presidential immunity as it relates to former President Trump, I can imagine that they're trading those drafts. The clerks are working away. And you can understand on something like that, where they're writing a decision, not just about Trump, but for all presidents going forward, they want to have as close to unanimity as possible, right? And so they want to have an unsigned per curiam order where you see as many of those justices as possible without a bunch of dissents. Now, they may not be able to get that depending on what it is, but it's what we saw in the Colorado ballot case. And I can see a situation in which they're trying to have as narrow a ruling as possible to get as many people to sign on to it.
Okay. Now, this is interesting, okay? MSNBC, this is the MSNBC legal correspondent and also NBC legal correspondent. And I'll tell you who she is in a minute, which is really interesting. But what left-wing MSNBC's legal correspondent is saying here is that the Supreme Court will rule in Trump's favor because they're worried about other presidents in the future and the past presidents that are still with us getting prosecuted.
Presidents have to have that immunity.
Well,
I mean, otherwise it would really damage the country, and it would be an endless each side going after each other, arresting presidents, and we can't have that in our government. I'm sorry.
The NBC News senior legal correspondent that you just heard from is Laura Jarrett. She is the daughter of Valerie Jarrett. So Valerie Jarrett's daughter, just coincidentally, is the legal. Yeah, don't try.
I almost thought you were going to say Greg Jarrett.
No, don't try to make it in TV or in Hollywood. Yeah. They're all children, married, sleeping with each other. It's all incestuous. Nobody can make it unless you're already connected. But when Laura Jarrett goes on TV and says Trump's going to get immunity, that to me tells me that that's the word out of Washington. Even though she's not her mother's in with Obama. Obama's running the show. So the word on the street is immunity. Yeah. And she's saying maybe 100% of the justices will rule in favor. And the reason that is I was talking about it this morning, that presidents either have immunity or they don't from like these local prosecutions. If a president, that doesn't mean that presidents can commit crimes. The impeachment process isn't supposed to be because Nancy Pelosi got her broom all upset and she wants to just impeach so she can say, he's impeached. It's a legal process. If a president commits a high crime or misdemeanor, they're indicted in the House, tried in the Senate, and they can be convicted of crimes. It's not for local courts to do it. As an example, if presidents don't have immunity, this 12-year-old girl who was raped and murdered in Houston, Texas, right? The local prosecutor could bring accessory charges against Joe Biden. He brought them here. He knows they're bringing killers and rapists and murderers here. So, and you know, you can make a list and go on forever and ever and ever. Presidents do things all the time that get people killed. All right. So, are you going to prosecute George W. Bush for all the deaths he's responsible for because he knowingly lied about WMDs in Iraq? I mean, there's a slippery slope you're going down. So, I'm glad to hear Valerie Jarrett's daughter, who's the legal analyst for NBC News and MSNBC, say it's going to go in Trump's favor. So that one, I think we can check off. And her explanation, I think, is spot on. She's too on the inside, being Valerie Jarrett's daughter. So she knows what's really going on.
You know, the staff I'm sure there are so many assistants and interns. Between all 9 justices, they probably have hundreds of people that work for them, I would imagine, between secretaries and all. So these kinds of, I mean, it leaked today on their website that they're going to rule in this case in Idaho that they'll allow abortion in case of a emergency if the mother's life is at risk. That's the only time I think abortion should be allowed, by the way. I'm against abortion, but I think if the mother's life is in danger, then I think it's up to her and the doctor to have that option to decide what to do. You know what I mean? It happens. It's rare, but I think if the mother's life is in danger, I think. Now, this is new. This just popped up on Twitter. It is rumored now that Trump has chosen Vivek as his VP.
Who started that rumor?
It says here, this guy, we'll see. It says here, President Trump has selected his VP. Reports are circulating that it's Vivek. It's 10,000 likes. So let's see what's going to happen. I think we're going to find out. Vivek, I don't know if that's accurate or not, but sometimes these people report things on Twitter. They're true, sometimes not. I wonder if we'll find out tomorrow night if he is going to announce. People need to know. There's so much talk. We've talked about it. I think people are tired of hearing talk about it. They just want to know who it is. But we were watching Byron Donalds today on Right Side Broadcasting at this black barber shop. I don't know why black guys always have to.
Was that Right Side Broadcasting? I thought it was on Fox.
No, it was on Right Side, okay. And they always have to go to a barber shop, I guess. But they were there, and Byron Donalds, who's a born leader, was there with Ben Carson, who was half asleep. I'm sorry, I know a lot of people love Ben Carson, but he has no energy. But Byron is a born leader, and we were talking how great it would be if he would be the VP, but I don't think he wants to do that. I think he's a young guy, and I think his sights are set on being a governor or a senator. Vivek really wants it. He's young. He's got energy. We'll see what happens. Trump likes him. He was at... We'll see. He said he'll be at the debate, but Doug Burgum's going to be at the debate. A lot of them will be at the debate. So I wonder when he's going to announce. I really wish he would do it already.
The way they used to do it, and it doesn't work anymore.
Tired of speculating.
And the reason this doesn't work anymore is because there's too much media. So it used to work like this all the way through the 90s is whoever was the presumed nominee would show up at the convention, and then they would walk out and do some appearance with who the pick was going to be. So it would often be a surprise, and you'd find out. Like I remember there was one. I can't remember who this was. Somebody tell me in the comments. This was in the 90s. I can't remember which. Who? I think it was Bob Dole. Who was Bob Dole's running mate? I'd forgotten, but he was a retired football player who went to Congress. I'm pretty sure. And they came in like on a boat in some harbor, and they were throwing footballs off the boat. And it was like, and it was a big surprise. Now because of the 24-hour news cycle, we have so much media. If you wait until that point, it becomes anticlimactic, and it's about to become the VP choice is about to become anticlimactic now. But
they're about to jump the shark. They need to do it.
Well, here's the thing. Okay, you guys know I've talked about this a lot. I got a lot of problems with Vivek, but I have always said from the beginning that whoever Trump supports, I will support him. Absolutely. And them. I don't care who they are. If he picked Hillary Clinton, I'd support Donald Trump. So Vivek is, out of all the people that are being talked about, is my least favorite. I don't trust the Soros connection and all that stuff. But if Trump picks him, it'll all be forgotten by me. Okay, like I give you an example. J.D. Vance.
He's not though a politician, DC guy, and that might be Trump. Might be really burned on that because of Pence.
Yeah,
and he might want to bring a guy in that does not have a DC connection, like politically.
Like J.D. Vance was a big never Trumper. Okay, and said terrible things about Donald Trump. Okay, and he was on Fox today talking about it. He gave an excuse for it, which wasn't really much of an excuse. But if he picked J.D. Vance, all that would be forgotten with me. You know, whoever Trump picks, we've got to support. We got to have a united front. Things are too important. This isn't a game. It's about the future of the country. I hope it's not Vivek. A lot of people are in love with this guy, and I really don't know why. You know, out of all the people that are on the list that are talked about, the one that I think is the best two are Byron Donalds and Doug Burgum. I don't know as much about Burgum as some of the others, but Byron Donalds I like a lot, and he has led two high-profile events for the Trump campaign.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just dying to know.
This thing at the barbershop he led today, and then he did that event in Detroit with Trump when he did that thing at the 180 church. And I'm pretty impressed with Byron Donalds.
Okay, so now we have breaking news. Vivek has confirmed he will be at the debate Thursday
Sounds
night.
like he's starting the rumor.
Well,
right.
you know, this is going around Twitter now. That has 31,000 likes. It's going around Twitter that Vivek is looking like it's a high possibility. I thought he was out of the running.
Yeah.
And, you know, last week they gave us that the news said that Trump narrowed it down to 3 people. He wasn't in that list. So, you know, the news is wrong all the time. We're wrong sometimes, rarely. But we go by what we see on Twitter and what, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're not connected to DC. We go by what the reports that are coming out. So like I said, I could be wrong about this, but I've seen multiple things on Twitter today, on X, showing Vivek. But I agree with you. I think Trump needs to announce it at the debate would be exciting, because sometimes you go past the close and you wait too long and that excitement
it's anticlimactic.
Is gone. And right now there's a lot of frenzy about it.
And this, if it's not Vivek, okay, what's going on right now is one of the reasons I don't like him. Vivek is a billionaire, okay? Obviously I have nothing against billionaires.
No, I wish we were billionaires.
But the reason that Vivek is I'd settle for being a millionaire.
Yeah. I would settle for that.
We're thousandaires. You know? I'm kidding.
Barely.
I'm kidding. Oh, my goodness. No, but anyway, there's being a billionaire. The reason that Vivek is at this level is he bought his way in, right? He used to be on Fox all the time. I have no doubt that he bought his way on Fox. He self-financed his campaign. He used his money to get all this up. And right now, what you're seeing on Twitter, I'm not saying that he's buying tweets today, but he has the financial ability
you never know.
To start a trend on Twitter.
So you think he might be doing
Twitter.
it to try to sway Trump said he's already made his decision.
Yeah, I think he's probably either trying to sway for that or try to sway a cabinet post, because a lot of times what happens, a lot of people that run for president and then they drop out and then they support whoever the president ends up being gets a cabinet post. So I don't trust him. Now, again, we could find out tomorrow. I got to eat my words. If Trump picks Vivek, I will not criticize or have any suspicions of him, because I want to always go with Trump. But the very fact that this is like taking over X right now is another reason not to trust Vivek.
Okay, Red Eagle Politics, we were going to talk about this, has predicted in Nate Silver's 2024 model that Trump has a 66% chance of winning the election. Now, Biden has a 33% chance. This just came out today. Yeah. So that's all over Twitter, too. So he has according to this model, which is apparently very well known and pretty accurate, he has a 66% chance, and it's only June. Yeah. So that's probably going to shift even more in Trump's favor. This whole thing of them defending these illegals and saying the border's closed. I said to you guys this months ago, the border is going to be the main issue of the election. And these rapes and killings of these young girls, you know, I said to you last night, I said, these poor girls, there was more outrage over George Floyd. He has statues, murals.
Probably schools coming to be named.
Schools are going to be named after this guy. Has Biden even commented on these girls that have been killed because of these illegals he's letting in? I mean, it is outrageous, and it is really angering people, because almost everybody that votes has a kid, and half have daughters, maybe more like we do. And when something like that happens, it hits close to home. You know what I mean? And you're like, that could be my daughter. What, you know, I told you guys before, I worry about our daughter. I always worry about her, but she's in LA, and now we got this extra thing we got to worry about of all these illegals being from these prisons being let in this country that are dangerous. It's frightening.
Now, I want to talk about our newest sponsor here on the program. That is Tom Laporta at Laporta Roofing. You've heard me talk about him for years on the radio. And, you know, Tom Laporta, he will never sell you a roof you do not need. I've never heard another roofing company make that claim. They will never sell you a roof you do not need. If you need just a simple repair, Tom Laporta will do it. He covers the entire state of Florida, the entire state, the east coast of Florida, the west coast of Florida, and everywhere in between. He does jobs all over the state. He did a lot of work on the west coast of Florida after those major hurricanes we had a couple years ago. Remember those where the bridges got knocked down? He did a lot of work there. His response time is like first responder fast. He responds right away. He does great work. I've seen his work firsthand. He did a new roof for Steve Kane, of course, but just last week I went to a job site that he had just started putting a new roof on a home, and he had done the roof of a home right across the street, and he does incredible work. He has a highly qualified staff of not just roofers, they're artisans. They do beautiful work. Tom Laporta at Laporta Roofing, he also does every type of structure from single-family homes, apartment buildings, HOAs, municipal buildings, schools, churches, office buildings, warehouses, whatever type of structure you have, he can do it. And he also works with every type of roofing material as well. So you can find him online at LaportaContracting.com, but the best way to get him is to call or text. You can text too. I'm going to give you Tom Laporta's cell phone, okay? This number is not on the website. You only get this number through me. This is Tom Laporta's cell phone. It rings directly to the phone in his pocket, but you can also text him, all right? Again, he covers the entire state of Florida. Here's Tom Laporta's number, 954-604-4602. I usually text Tom, and he'll get right back to you. 954-604-4602. That's 954-604-4602 for Tom Laporta at Laporta Roofing. We're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we're going to hear from the great Marjorie Taylor Greene. You do not want to miss this. I promise you, and a whole bunch more. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. We'll be right back. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Brian, I just want to give a shout out to my coffee. This is very important. Anybody that has any kind of acid reflux, if you try the low acidic coffee of my coffee, it is absolutely the best. I wasn't able to drink coffee for years, and I tried it, and now I can drink the coffee with no problem whatsoever. It's absolutely delicious. The flavor is like a tastier flavor than regular coffee. I'm telling you, I don't get stomach aches. I don't get anything. I'm so happy with it, and I think that you ought to mention it. I think it's important, especially for older people.
Mike Lindell says that his coffee, the My Coffee, which is 50% off with our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane, at mypillow.com, it's the best tasting coffee you've ever had.
Absolutely true. I have tried over the years other coffees, and nothing comes near his, and that really is the truth.
50% off with our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane, at mypillow.com.
You've heard the news. People all over America are moving to new cities, new towns, even new states. But before you pack up and move your entire family, ask yourself this. Do you know anything about that new neighborhood? Don't just relocate. Relocate with confidence. Visit Maptimum.com. That's spelled MAP, T-I-M-U-M. And get to know your new neighborhood before you even pack a box. Whether it's across the state or across the country, Maptimum provides detailed, instantly generated reports on everything you need to know about your new neighborhood, from crime to schools, natural hazards, political leaning of the neighborhood, demographics, air quality, AI-generated insights, and more to help you vet your options. All you do is go to Maptimum.com, enter the area, the name of the neighborhood, or the zip code. That's it. You get a comprehensive snapshot at your fingertips. No more guessing and no surprises. So before you make that big move, make the smart move. Visit Maptimum.com. That's MAP, T-I-M-U-M. They cover the entire United States. Maptimum.com, your first step to a new beginning. Maptimum.com. In a world that's filled with so much stress, how would you like to find a gift that heals the soul? You can at the Etsy shop, S Tarot Store. S Tarot Store on Etsy is proud to present Masterpiece. Masterpiece is the most beautiful tarot deck in the world. It's the perfect blend of tarot tradition and cutting-edge AI tech. Masterpiece was created by a team of illustrators, designers, AI experts, and planners. It's a modern remake of the classic Rider-Waite Tarot. Each of the 78 cards features stunning hand hand-drawn artwork, refined through dozens of composite processes and enhanced with vibrant colors. Each card in the Masterpiece Tarot deck is unique, maintaining the rich tradition of tarot while offering a fresh new perspective. It's perfect for collectors, readers, and anyone seeking a touch of magic in their lives. The Masterpiece Tarot deck is available exclusively in the S Tarot store on Etsy, online at etsy.com/shop/S Tarot store. Order your Masterpiece Tarot deck right now at etsy.com/shop/S Tarot store. S Tarot store on Etsy. Gifts that heal your soul. Are you looking for a podcast that answers life's big questions? A podcast that won't stress you out, that you could listen to on the way to and home from work? Then add Words with Myself with host Luke Rickson to your podcast playlist. On Words with Myself, join Luke on his introspective journey, exploring profound philosophical questions and discussing common issues we all share. Words with Myself is a spirituality-based podcast that covers philosophy, science, religion, art, and more. It's all about the human experience and the commonalities that we all share. Recent episodes of Words with Myself tackles topics like the misconception of treating ourselves as projects that need fixing, living with integrity and truth to bring harmony, and how each of us manage stress in different ways. Words with Myself with host Luke Rickson is available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and your favorite podcast player. Start listening right now and begin a journey towards deeper understanding. Words with Myself on all podcast platforms.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. Make sure you follow and subscribe on whatever platform you're on. And remember, the Brian Craig Show podcast is on all podcast platforms and YouTube, okay? We're even on Audible and YouTube Music, Spotify, whatever podcast platform there is, we are on it, the Brian Craig Show podcast, and make sure you share the podcast with all your friends. And if you're watching and listening on YouTube, make sure you like the video, guys, okay? So the debate is tomorrow, the CNN debate, and the people that President Trump is up against is just insane, okay? You've got Jake Tapper, who spent the last, 7 years calling Trump a Nazi and comparing him to Hitler.
Yeah.
And he's such a Democrat sycophant, he went out on a date with Monica Lewinsky and tried to get her to do what Bill Clinton did. Now, he says it was an innocent date, but that's not why he went out on a date with Monica Lewinsky, okay?
No, he's a sycophant. He wanted to
emphasis on sick.
He wanted to hook up with the girl that
exactly. We know what she did.
We know what happened.
And Dana Bash, her ex-husband, is one of the CIA guys that signed that letter saying that Hunter's laptop was Russian misinformation. And then, of course, we've got Joe Biden, who's trying to put President Trump in prison. Okay, so this is what Trump's up against.
Exactly.
This is the most insane debate ever. I mean,
it's like Daniel going into the lion's den.
I mean, you talk about it a little out of balance, and I tell you, President Trump is a brave man.
Yes,
now,
he is.
I know everybody and his brother are telling Trump what he should do and how he should react. I'm not into that. First of all, I trust Trump. You've always got to let Trump be Trump. That's what Corey Lewandowski titled his book, Let Trump Be Trump. He knows what he's doing. And I hate it when people are always telling me what I should do, say, and talk about on the show. You should do this. This is what you should do. I hate when people tell me that. Now everybody's going to tell me
I'm just kidding. I don't do that.
But everyone,
that's my least favorite word is should.
Yeah, I agree.
I hate that word, but it's my mother's favorite word.
I hate that word should. I hate it.
I do too.
And I really hate people. I
try never to use it.
I really hate people telling me what I should do. Now, I know sometimes I say that, but I hate when every time even I say it, I'm like, oh.
Yeah, I don't like that word.
You know? But anyway, the great Marjorie Taylor Greene, she is so spot on. She gave some analysis of President Trump in the CNN debate with a guy that was trying to hook up with Lewinsky, who calls him a Nazi, the CIA agent's wife, who signed off on the laptop and said it was Russian disinformation, which has been proven that it was not. And of course, and the man Joe Biden is trying to put Trump in prison.
Nobody gives analysis like her.
No, she does. Now she was on Steve Bannon's show on the War Room. Listen to this.
Are you comfortable?
I spoke to President Trump just a little over an hour ago. Absolutely love him. I love him. I have so much faith in him. I have complete faith that he is going to hit a home run, but he is walking into a trap. He is walking into a rigged debate. He is walking into an arena filled with people that want to murder him. He's going to stand 10 feet away from Joe Biden, who wants to put him in prison the rest of his life, wants him to die and rot in prison, and Joe Biden wants to put the rest of his family in prison. That's who he has to stand next to when he has to debate. He's got to be questioned by Jake Tapper that called him a terrorist, called him a Nazi, called him every name in the book. And then Dana Bash, that little piece of shit whose husband is one of the 51 spies who lied. That is what President Trump is walking into. And it disgusts me. It infuriates me. I can't believe our country has come to this. Our politics are horrific. This is why a lot of people like me don't even want to vote anymore. They don't even want to vote for Republicans. They're fed up with the entire system. They think the two parties suck. People ages 18 to 29 are like, why do I even want to vote? All these old people and all these horrible people in politics don't represent me. The entire thing is a complete debacle. It's an embarrassment, and we're going to have to watch it happen tomorrow night. But I have full faith in President Trump, Steve. Full faith in him. He's going to do his absolute best, and I really hope America sees it. But are they going to be fair? No, they're not.
Okay. I like her now, especially what she said about Dana Bash. You know, Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Very eloquent. When
I interviewed her a while back, if you guys heard that interview, it was a very good interview, if I say so myself, because I love Marjorie Taylor Greene. And I said a couple things to her. I said, you know, you're not just a representative of your district. You're representing all of us in America. Right. You have like the biggest congressional district. You represent all of us. And I like how and I asked her, I said, you know, you are so popular and so loved. Why do you think you're so loved when you're a member of the body that's the most hated body in America, the House of Representatives, the Congress? And she says, because I hate the Congress too. And she's right. Everything she said, I hate these people in government. They're all like Nikki Haley, right? They're in bed with the corporate elitist military-industrial complex. Right. They're starting wars for profit, right? They don't care about us. They hate us. The border issue has been a problem for as long as I can remember, and the Republicans always allowed it to happen. They never cared. They never intended on overturning Roe v. Wade, right? You know, and they're disgusting. And I agree with everything she said. But this new MAGA wave that's coming in with Trump this time is different. And, you know, Nate Silver, who's very accurate, he says Trump has a 66% chance of winning.
That's right.
Those are incredible odds.
And look at the new interactive poll.
Yeah, I'll go through those in a minute.
Yeah, that's amazing,
you know,
too.
I'm not a bettor, but you look at 66%, that's like a sure thing. And the one thing we have going against us, and it's only one thing, and that is overconfidence. You know, overconfidence can
Well, I wonder if that's why they're doing it, though.
No, they're trashing Biden too much because they're depressing their own vote.
So you don't think they're doing this to try to get people to not vote?
No.
Okay,
but don't let overconfidence get you. Yeah, so I want to go through this. This is the interactive polls, and this is absolutely amazing. Interactive polls, which is very scientific, and even though I don't follow polls too much, there's a handful that I do follow. I follow interactive polls and Red Eagle Politics on YouTube. Red Eagle Politics on YouTube is very, very good.
Yeah, I that's what I was talking about before. He tweeted that.
Okay, this came from Red Eagle Politics. Yeah,
the other one I said before. Yeah, about the Nate Silver.
Yeah, Red Eagle Politics is a YouTube channel, and I watch most of their videos, and you don't hear me promoting anything that's poll related. He's very good. And interactive polls on Twitter is very good too.
Yeah, and they update it all the time.
Yeah, these are like really scientifically accurate, okay? As accurate as you can be. So they're giving interactive polls is giving Trump's chance of winning at 71%. 71%. They say that that's amazing. 71% chance of winning.
But still vote.
With winning 303 electoral college votes.
That's incredible. That would be amazing.
Yeah, and then they go through the swing states. This is interactive polls on Twitter. In Pennsylvania, they give Trump a 71% chance of winning Pennsylvania.
Wow.
A 67% chance of winning Wisconsin. By the way, these are the battleground states, the toss-up states. A 62% chance of winning Michigan. A 72% chance of winning Arizona. a 76% chance of winning Georgia, a 61% chance of winning Nevada. Now, you need 270 electoral votes to win, and they're predicting 303. That's amazing.
That would be incredible.
You know, I'll tell you, there was this stupid talk yesterday that Florida was in. I told you that was BS. And the Biden campaign has pulled out of Florida. They're not even spending a penny in Florida.
Wow.
They've totally pulled out of Florida. They've given up on Florida, which it's not just that Trump's going to win Florida. That has an impact on the congressional races. If they've pulled out, that means that's going to hurt their congressional races. Now, Glenn Beck.
That means Florida's red and they've given up and they're not even going to bother. You know,
Glenn Beck, I started listening to Glenn Beck a little bit when I get off the air the last couple of weeks. I listen to him once or twice a week. I'm not I like Glenn Beck, and he says a lot of things that I agree with, but his show is so scripted.
Yeah.
It's like listening to a book on tape, and I don't like that it's written.
He's good like in little segments.
Yeah, I mean, he even talks about having writers. Like, that's a good thing. I don't write anything. I mean, I just read the news and tweet stories, and I go through my.
We literally fly by the seat of our pants.
Well, that's what I've always done. That's what makes the show real. Yeah. You know, it's not scripted. And if you go to my Twitter feed, Brian Craig Show on Twitter, you get all my show prep. And what I do is I'll go through my Twitter feed and just to remember the stuff I wanted to talk about. That's where my stack of stuff is. But President Trump got some advice on the debate from Glenn Beck, and this is Glenn Beck's advice. He says his advice is don't debate, don't acknowledge Biden, speak to the American people who can't afford 4 more years of this. Let them know how you're going to turn it all around.
That's what I agree.
And
totally.
I got to say, out of everything I've heard people say about Trump and the debate, that's the best advice I've heard.
Yeah, that's what I said on the other show. I said I don't think he should go in this back and forth with Biden over J6 and all this stuff. They're going to being a convict and all this. He needs to speak to the people about the issues, and I think that's a great advice, whether he'll take it or not. I think he should go in very different, and it's not that I don't love Trump, but it would throw them off because they've been preparing Biden with what they do is they get somebody to play Trump. Trump doesn't do this. I don't know if Trump's ever prepared for a debate.
Trump says life is prepared.
Exactly.
And but
they get a guy to represent Trump who stands there and screams and yells and rants and raves. It's like a practice, right? And then Biden reacts, and they come up with how he can react in all these different scenarios. If Trump went in there, I'm not saying Trump rants and raves, but that's how they see him. If he went in there and just said, I'm not going to discuss anything with that. I want to look to the future and focus on the issues, and just kept shutting them down and focused on the border and this and that, then that would, I think, be really good. And another thing is somebody had said they don't want an audience. This was on X or something, because they're afraid of who Trump would bring, like the families of these girls that have been murdered.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the real reason.
He definitely would.
Because remember, he did Juanita Broderick and Paula Jones, and CNN does not want an audience because they're afraid Trump will bring some of these families, which he definitely.
Well, you know what I'm wondering?
Steve Bannon's definitely advising him.
The mother of the 12-year-old girl who was raped and murdered by Biden's illegals in Houston was on Hannity last night.
Yeah, I saw the interview.
And it was very good. I played some of it this morning on the air, and Hannity is in with the Trump, the Trump campaign. So I would not be surprised if we saw like her or Lake and Riley's parents or something.
Well, they're not going to let that happen.
Have a press conference with Trump.
He could do that.
He could have a press conference before the debate.
He could do that. Yes, he could.
The thing.
Invite them to Mar-a-Lago and say they're my special guests at Mar-a-Lago and do like a thing via satellite or something.
I'm glad there's not an audience, because the way the audiences work, they're not real audiences, okay? The candidates, the campaigns each get a certain number of tickets. They give them to their friends, and then the supporters applaud when they're, it's fake.
Is this the first debate without an audience? Have there always been audiences?
It's the only one I know of was the one in the modern era. I don't know if the Nixon-Kennedy debate had an audience.
So it'll be interesting for everybody.
So I think the reason they don't have an audience, and I mean this, is because I think they're afraid an audience will interfere with Biden hearing what he's being told in the earpiece.
Yeah, there's many reasons.
They're going to. There is nothing could convince me that Biden is not going to have some high-tech earpiece telling him what to say and not to say, just in case he blanks out.
And believe me, they'll have the camera angles. Everything will be, obviously rigged to make Biden look good and make Trump look bad. I think that's pretty obvious. And I think Trump will do fine. But I would like to see him not get sucked in to talking about the 2020 election, J6, or the convictions or any of that stuff. And that's what they're going to try to do, okay? And I really wish I hope he just shuts them down and says, I'm not going to discuss that here tonight, okay? We can talk about that another time. I want to talk about the issues. I want to talk about what I'm going to do when I'm president and how I'm going to fix these things. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to stop funding the Ukraine. I'm going to close the border on day one. I'm going to deport people, blah, 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 blah.
I want to hear him. I like what Glenn Beck said. Don't acknowledge Biden.
I agree.
Go back to all the problems, right? The rapes and the murders by Biden's illegals. Do that as often as possible.
Don't react. Don't react to him. Just say what you need to say.
The inflation, all this stuff. Talk about the problems that we're having now.
Like pretend he's not even there.
I wouldn't make some profound. I'm not going to talk about the past. I just would ignore that.
Yeah, just ignore it and say what he's going to say, and exactly. Just say what he wants to say.
CNN, they are without shame to have Dana Bash and Jake Tapper there. I heard a couple days ago, I was listening in the car to the 5, and I don't know who it was, but it was their token liberal. They always got to have a liberal. And they were talking about how inappropriate Tapper and Bash are. And they said, well, Trump agreed to it, so that's okay. Just because Trump agreed to the debate does not mean that CNN and their moderators have a license to be unethical and inappropriate. No. It's not a license to do whatever they want. And
exactly.
You could not get more of a biased panel than Trump is going. Having Jake Tapper and Dana Bash moderating this debate would be like if it was Bill Clinton debating and it was being moderated by Paula Jones and I don't know, Juanita Broderick. I was very surprised at Monica Lewinsky is attacking Judge Cannon. She wants Judge Cannon removed, the judge in the documents case. After everything, the Democrats destroyed her life. They really have destroyed her life. She's not had a normal life. She's looked at as just because of the thing. Come on, you guys know, I don't need to say it. And she's still like a lunatic Democrat activist.
Yep.
She's
probably still in love with Bill Clinton.
She would.
I wouldn't be surprised if they were having an affair right now.
I wouldn't be surprised if they've been having an affair since he left the White House.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have so many eyes on. Would you be surprised if they've been in a relationship for 20 years?
She's not married, and I could totally see them having a whole thing going on.
He left the White House 24 years ago in 2000, right?
Maybe they've been together for a while.
Would you be shocked?
No, not at all.
I would be like, I knew it all along.
Yeah. I would not be surprised if they're still getting it on.
Oh.
If he can.
I don't. Well, if you've seen him lately, he doesn't look like he can do much.
He doesn't look too good.
He looks like Skeletor.
Yeah,
he doesn't look good, Bill Clinton.
She might not care.
I don't think she cares. I do. I think she is still in love with Bill Clinton. I really do.
No, she was in love with him, and I'm telling you, I wouldn't be surprised if they were still.
If you guys have not seen the FX miniseries with Clive Owen about the Bill Clinton-Lewinsky affair, you should watch it.
The girl who plays Monica Lewinsky, you know who her brother is? What's that actor that was in Wolf of Wall Street? The short Jewish guy. He was in Superbad.
Yeah, I know who he is. I don't know his name.
That's her brother. They look exactly alike.
Yeah, they do. Yeah,
she is not
Maybe
attractive.
It was him in a dress. But if you haven't seen that movie, you should see it because
he was good as Clinton.
Not only do you learn a lot about that, and it was very interesting.
It was good.
You get to see how incestuous Ann Coulter and Laura Ingraham are, and this Lincoln Project. There's a whole side story about that. Now, I want to thank all of our Patreon supporters for their support of the program. And if you would like to support the program, of course, there's many ways to do that, right? Supporting our great sponsors like Tom Laporte at Laporte Roofing, but you can also become a Patreon supporter. And when you're a Patreon supporter, you're supporting the program. And also you get access to a lot of things that no one else does, including commercial-free editions of all of our podcast episodes. And if you'd like to become a Patreon supporter, there's a link in the description of this and every episode of the podcast on whatever platform you're listening to us on. Now, on some platforms, you might have to copy and paste, not click it, depending on the platform, but it's there. And our top Patreon supporters get a live on-air thank you shout-out on each and every episode. So the names you'll hear now are our top Patreon supporters. I want to thank Andrew and Connie, Christine, ETW, Chuck, D, Pamela, Rick, Nick, Wesley, Macho, Mike P, Carlos, Paulette, John, Heather, David, Maria in Texas, Richard, Alice, K-Mac, LeeZep, Shawna, Constance, George, Brandon, Rob and Trish Wilkerson, and Christy R. These are our top Patreon supporters. Thank you all for your support. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. We're going to take a quick break and be right back after this.
Men, are you tired of looking tired? You can turn your tired eyes into a vibrant and refreshed look with a specially formulated under-eye cream for men at Amazon.com/shops/Meditati. That's MEDITATI. This anti-aging formula is designed to repair and protect your eyes against the common signs of aging. Dark circles, puffiness, and those pesky crow's feet, gone. With Meditati, you'll say goodbye to those tired eyes and hello to a youthful appearance. It's packed with peptides, vitamin C, jojoba oil, green tea, CoQ10, and other essential ingredients. This formula will keep your under eyes bright and refreshed. It also keeps your skin hydrated with the highest quality natural and organic ingredients. It's crafted by skincare experts, and this non-greasy, lightweight formula absorbs quickly and efficiently, nourishing the skin around your eyes. So if you're tired of puffiness and wrinkles, go right now to Amazon.com/shops/Meditati. That's MEDITATI. Don't miss out on this chance to give your eyes the care they deserve, because you and your eyes deserve it. Amazon.com/shops/Meditati.
Hey, good morning, Brian. It's Lisa, and my husband and I received our My Pillow 2.0 that we ordered with Kane the other day, the buy one, get one free, and they're our first My Pillows, and we love them. We absolutely love them. They're just absolutely marvelous. Yeah, I'm so glad. I got slippers on the way, too.
Go to MyPillow.com and use our promo code Kane at checkout, K-A-N-E, and buy your My Pillow 2.0. Right now, buy one, get one free. You can also order by phone, toll-free, 800-716-4879. 1-800-716-4879. Promo code Kane. Have you ever heard that laughter is the best medicine? You'll find out how true that is with your weekly Therapy podcast, available on all podcast platforms. Host Tell and Anne-Marie, your not-so-typical therapist and nurse practitioner duo, have a flair for ADHD and life's hilarities. They'll make you laugh, cry, and maybe even rethink some of your life choices. And that's just in one episode. And no topic is off limits. Tell and Anne-Marie discuss everything from gaslighting, daily life with ADHD, and relationships. Add your weekly Therapy podcast to your podcast playlist, available on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and wherever you listen to podcasts. And you can catch the video podcast on YouTube. Don't just cope, laugh, learn, and sip some therapy. It's therapy with a twist. Share the podcast on all your social media so your friends can tune in too. Your weekly Therapy podcast. Start listening right now. Take a thoughtful and meaningful journey with author Gregory Roller in the book 40 Poems for 40 Years, available on Amazon. In this must-read book of poetry, author Gregory Roller shares words forged in the desert of rebellion, disillusionment, and despair, whether you're in the desert of desolation or the springs of renewal. These powerful words will encourage you to persevere through life's challenges and to rejoice in its victories, knowing that each day brings you closer to home. 40 Poems for 40 Years is available in Kindle, paperback, hardcover, and audiobook on Amazon. 40 Poems for 40 Years makes a great gift. It's also a perfect addition to your book club. Embrace the wisdom and resilience captured in this remarkable book. 40 Poems for 40 Years from author Gregory Roller on Amazon. Order your copy right now and let the journey inspire you.
You are listening to the Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at briancraigshow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. Thanks so much for tuning in. So Jerry Nadler was talking on TV today. Jerry Nadler, doesn't he look like Danny DeVito's Penguin from the Batman movies?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got the same body. That's
the incredible
for sure.
shrinking man.
Yeah. Listen to this. I needs no setup.
If you look at the statistics, the crime rate among immigrants is far lower than the crime rate among Native-born Americans. So the whole issue is wrong.
Aren't the crimes preventable, though, if these people don't have a right to be here in the first place?
I've said what I was going to say.
Oh, he's
They don't know what to say to that.
First off, he said immigrants. When we're talking about illegal immigrants, illegal immigrants have the highest crime rate of any group in this country because they're all criminals by the very fact that they're here. They're illegal immigrants, right? So they have a 100% crime rate.
Exactly.
But when she gave him that little truth bomb there, he didn't. I've said all I've got to say. He doesn't even. They just make stuff up.
Yeah, they just toe the party line. They just say what they're supposed to say.
It's really sad, isn't it? You know, you wonder how long has the government been this way?
That's the problem with politics is they choose a side and that's it. They're not flexible. They don't bend, and they're not all like that. But I mean, look at Fetterman. He's meeting with Netanyahu right now. I mean, he sounds more conservative and more MAGA than anybody ever thought he would, and reasonable, and he still doesn't dress right. But, it's amazing.
Yeah. So during the break, I was scrolling through my Twitter feed. I can't call it X all the time, guys. Come on.
Elon Musk said it's officially X.
Yeah, well. Yeah.
No longer Twitter.
Yeah, whatever. I call it both.
Get used to it.
Call it both. Whatever. And I got a little clickbait. I got tricked on some clickbait. It said that Joe Biden finally comments about the horrific rape and murder of the 12-year-old little girl in Houston. And then I played it, and then this is it. Listen.
To George's family and friends, Jill and I know the deep hole in your hearts when you bury a piece of your soul deep in this earth. We know you will never feel the same again. I've watched with awe as you summon the absolute courage to channel God's grace. You're so brave. Why does justice not roll like a river or righteousness like a mighty stream? Why? Everything there is a time and a purpose and a season under the heavens. May God be with you, George Floyd, and your family. And the words of a hymn from my church based on the 91st Psalm. May he raise you up on eagle's wings, bear you on the breath of dawn, and make you to shine like the sun, and hold you in the palm of his hand.
You know, that's insane. And
he's got a lot of nerve quoting the Bible.
Yeah, that's for sure.
A lot of nerve.
Mark
it's
Dice,
like gangsters go to church on Sunday, they're Catholic, and then they go kill people.
Exactly. Mark Dice, every time he talks about George Floyd, he says St. George Floyd. And this, he's obviously joking, but the left turned him into a saint. Yeah. And, the whole thing was a tragedy, okay? It was a tragedy for the police. It was a tragedy for him. And it's sad that it all happened, but he was not some angel saint who was running around and doing nothing wrong. And they were pandering to this, the BLM crowd and everything. So they made him a saint for political purposes. This is what Marjorie Taylor Greene was talking about earlier in that clip we played from Bannon's show. The permanent Washington class, the permanent politicians, they don't care about anything other than being in power. They will say and do anything on a dime that will get them one little needle of support in their direction in that particular moment in time. Mm-hmm. They care about nothing but their power and their money. And we and Trump are getting in the way of that. And this whole thing about George Floyd, that was when politicians were taking knees and everything all over the place. It was so bizarre.
They're disgusting. They've sold their soul to the devil. As far as I'm concerned,
there's not a human who could not honestly have sympathy for these women and little girls that have been raped and murdered by these illegals with this new crime wave we're having.
They're not going to do well defending
the Democrats are ignoring it like it didn't happen. I got a call this morning on the morning show from a listener who lives in Texas, and she was telling me that because she watches and reads the local news in Texas, that there's a massive crime wave going on in Texas, a massive crime wave by illegals, carjackings, robberies, all kinds of crime, car accidents. But there's a lot of carjackings and things going on. Not every crime is resulting in the death or rape of someone, but there's a lot of felonies being committed throughout the entire state because of this. And there's a number of reasons. One is that they're obviously the criminals because they're emptying out the prisons. We know this, right? They're emptying out the prisons. That's why there's a 70% drop in the crime rate in Venezuela. Some even say 73%, but at least 70% drop in crime because all the criminals are being sent here. They're taking them off the streets and they're bringing them here. They're emptying out the jails and they're bringing them here. So they do crime. And
it's not just Venezuela. I'm sure other countries are doing it too.
When Trump was on with Dr. Phil and him were talking about in the Congo, in Africa, they're emptying out prisons and local jails in the Congo.
It's no longer women and children coming over the border. Not that matters because those children all grow up. And we have to support them. But we saw a video of people coming across the border. We watched it. It was all young men in their early 20s. And they all looked different. Some were black, Asian,
the video,
Hispanic.
The film we saw today was today video. It was done today.
Yeah.
And they weren't just young men like in their early and mid-20s. They all had like military haircuts.
Yeah, yeah.
It looks like they're bringing in an army.
Yeah, it does. Scary.
Trump and conservatives are not against immigration. Melania, the first lady, is an immigrant.
We're all products of immigrants.
It's the illegal. Yeah, that's right. Even the Indians. I know people don't want to accept that, but even the Indians, we're all descendant of immigrants from somewhere else. We're not against immigrants or immigration. We're not saying stop legal immigration.
No.
But you can't wipe out your entire border and say send in your prisoners here. And I know they're not all convicts, but I mean, it doesn't send off alarm bells when you're seeing just miles and miles of men in their early to mid-20s with military haircuts.
And then you have Mayorkas going on TV telling you, lying, that the border's closed. I mean, it's just crazy that this guy can go on television day in and day out and tell you that the border's not open. When you see it for yourself, I mean, they're flat out lying to you. But it's amazing how some people are just so loyal to the Democratic Party. Not everybody, but a lot of them. And they just flat out will not budge no matter what. The whole world could be, I mean, it's almost like this now. The whole world, things are bad. And there's wars going on that Biden is funding and the economy and all these things that are wrong. Mm-hmm. But they still have faith in their party. And I don't understand. I'll never understand Democrats, but I really don't understand the people that can't see and acknowledge what is happening right in front of them. They just flat out refuse.
Yeah, Mike Johnson did something that just blew me away. And what Mike Johnson did, he was on Hannity last night. He announced that he's authorized the Republican House to submit a congressional brief on behalf of Steve Bannon to the Supreme Court. They're trying to get word to the Supreme Court that the January 6th committee, then all their findings against Bannon, to cancel them so he doesn't go to prison. And what's Kathy and I were talking about this earlier. Marjorie Taylor Greene was all over Mike Johnson, and Trump got her to stop. There's no doubt Trump got her to stop. Remember, he even said on an interview, we can't be divided going into the election. It makes us look like amateurs. We have to be united. And she doesn't really go after him anymore. And if you notice, since Trump got Marjorie Taylor Greene off Mike Johnson's back, he's gotten a little better.
Hey guys, so I want to talk to you about MyPillow. And right now they're having a spring sale. Even though it's officially summer, they're still having a spring sale.
Yeah.
And they're having buy one, get one free on the MyPillow 2.0. And the My Slippers and Sandals, you can get them as low as $25. And the Percale sheets as low as $25 as well. They have amazing sales. They have the $25 extravaganza going on. And let me tell you, when we first started promoting MyPillow, the prices were not this good. But the quality is still the same. But the prices are better than ever. So if you want to stock up or you've always wanted to support Mike Lindell, now is a really great time. They have so many things for $25. It just blows my mind. And they have these new white slide sandals, $9.50. And those look like they're really great around the pool. If you know somebody that, like, my mom swims every day, I might get her a pair. People that swim or they're outside gardening a lot, something like that would be really nice. They look really comfortable. You just slip them on, go outside and leave them by the back door. They're perfect for something like that. But they have so many things. And what I like about Mike Lindell, he's always adding new stuff. He's always on top of keeping things fresh, and everything is still high quality. So don't think he's sacrificing that. The reason the prices are so low is because he's no longer in the stores. You're getting it shipped directly to you from the factory. So that is the difference right there. He doesn't have to share in the profit with any of these other stores or mark things up. And it's amazing. And he has all his same employees, business as usual. So it's a great way to support us, to support him and Trump, and to show your MAGA pride. And always use promo code KANE, KANE, when you go to mypillow.com.
Yeah, and remember, when you use our promo code KANE, you are supporting this program, okay? And all the content that I bring you. So promo code KANE at checkout, KANE. Well, that's all the time we have for today. We will be back next time. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. Thanks so much, everyone, for tuning in, and we will talk to you next time.